This wasn't supposed to be public. It wasn't announced in a press conference. It wasn't pushed out by the league. And it definitely wasn't framed as breaking news. But just minutes ago, something slipped through, and now fans can't stop talking about it. Because when Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull reacted the way they did, it quietly confirmed what many people have been afraid to say out loud about Caitlin Clark. Not that she's struggling, not that she's underperforming, but that the situation around her is becoming unsustainable. And once you understand what was revealed, the entire season looks different. At first glance, nothing looked unusual. No dramatic headline, no viral argument, no obvious controversy. But the WNBA fan base has become extremely good at reading between the lines, especially when it comes to Clark, because every game she plays now is dissected frame by frame. Every reaction is slowed down. Every comment is analyzed for what's being said and what's being avoided. And this time, the reactions didn't look normal. They looked worried. It started with Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham has a reputation around the league. She's blunt, she's emotional, and she doesn't usually filter herself to protect narratives, which is why her tone caught everyone off guard. Instead of fire, there was restraint. Instead of jokes, there was seriousness. And instead of her usual edge, there was hesitation. Fans noticed immediately. Because when someone like Cunningham suddenly chooses her words carefully, it usually means she knows exactly how dangerous the truth might sound. She didn't name names. She didn't accuse anyone directly. But the message still landed. This isn't just basketball anymore. This is pressure. This is accumulation. This is something building quietly in the background. And what made it worse was what happened right after. Because while Cunningham's words raised eyebrows, Lexie Hull didn't even need to speak. Her reaction said everything. If you watched closely, you saw it. The tight jaw, the stare that didn't move, the frustration that didn't fade after the whistle. That's not the reaction of someone upset about a missed shot. That's the reaction of someone who feels like something is being allowed to happen. And fans instantly connected the dots. Hull sees what Clark goes through every night. She feels the physicality. She sees the fouls that don't get called. She watches defenders play her differently than anyone else on the floor. And in that moment, her expression said what no post-game interview ever would. This isn't fair. And it's getting worse. What's unsettling is that none of this is new. It's just becoming harder to hide. From the very first week of the season, Clark has been treated like both the league's biggest asset and its biggest target. On one hand, she's the ratings engine, the jersey seller, the reason arenas are selling out. On the other hand, she's taking contact that would spark outrage if it happened to anyone else. Hard screens, extra shoves, late contests, physical defense that crosses the line but somehow keeps getting waved off. Fans have counted it, clips have gone viral, former players have quietly acknowledged it. And yet, the league response has remained the same. Silence. Which is why Cunningham and Hull reacting the way they did felt so heavy. Because when players start communicating through tone and body language instead of words, it usually means they don't feel protected either. And that leads to the real issue no one wants to address. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing against defenders. She's playing against expectation. Every night, she's expected to carry attention, ratings, and narrative weight that no rookie or even most veterans have ever been asked to handle. She's guarded full court, she's bumped off ball, she's hit on drives, and then she's expected to smile, reset, and deliver highlights like nothing happened. That kind of pressure doesn't explode all at once. It builds. And that's what fans think Cunningham and Hull were reacting to. Not one incident, not one game, but the long-term toll. Because when a league allows its biggest draw to absorb nonstop physical punishment without consistent protection, it sends a dangerous message. It tells defenders they can push limits, it tells officials they don't need to adjust, and it tells teammates they may eventually have to speak up even if they don't want to. That's where this situation becomes bigger than Caitlin Clark. This is about how the WNBA handles stars. Right now, the league is benefiting massively from Clark's presence. National coverage is up. Ticket demand is up. Social media engagement has exploded. But the infrastructure hasn't caught up. Officiating hasn't adapted. narratives haven't evolved, and player safety conversations keep getting delayed. Fans are starting to notice the contradiction. You can't market someone as the face of the league while allowing them to be treated like a target. And Cunningham's careful wording hinted at that reality. She didn't sound angry, she sounded concerned, which is far more alarming because anger fades, concern lingers. Lexie Hull's reaction added another layer. As a teammate, she sees the grind firsthand. She sees the aftermath of those hits. She sees how much effort it takes just to get open. And when her frustration spilled over, it confirmed what fans suspected. This isn't just noise online. Players feel it too. What makes this even more uncomfortable is how familiar this pattern feels. We've seen leagues ride stars hard without adjusting systems around them. We've seen physicality normalized until something breaks. We've seen silence defended as letting them play. And every time, the backlash comes later, not before. Right now, Caitlin Clark is still performing. She's still competing. She's still showing flashes of why she's special. But the reactions around her are changing. They're no longer celebratory. They're cautious. And that's what makes this moment feel different. Sophie Cunningham didn't need to accuse anyone. Lexie Hull didn't need to call out officials. The message still landed. Something isn't right. And if it continues unchecked, the league risks turning its biggest growth moment into its biggest regret. Because stars don't burn out overnight. They wear down slowly, one possession at a time. The scary part is that none of this required a dramatic incident to expose it. All it took was two players reacting honestly, and now the conversation has shifted. Not toward Caitlin Clark's stats, not toward her shooting percentages, but toward how long this situation can continue before something has to change. The league can ignore fan noise, it can dismiss online outrage, but when players themselves start signaling concern even subtly, that's when things become impossible to brush off. This wasn't a headline meant to drop. It wasn't an announcement meant to go viral. But now that it's out, it can't be put back. Because once fans see the warning signs, they don't forget them. And what happens next won't just shape Caitlin Clark's season. It may define how the WNBA handles its future stars altogether.